So it's time for our speaker. Unfortunately, this slide is misrepresenting our speaker. I did think it was going to be Catherine, but it's not. Instead, it is Dirk Brown, who's the director of the McNaire Institute for Free Enterprise and Entrepreneurship at the University of South Carolina. You know him. They've been sponsors of ours for a very long time. He's a regular around here and a member of our community, and we're glad to hear what they're going to be up to in 2020. Please welcome Dirk Brown to the stage.
We're just at 6 to 10, but I'll try and do it in 6.
So we'll give you that.
So good morning. I'm going to try and channel Catherine, if I can, and talk a little bit about the McNaire Institute for Entrepreneurism and Free Enterprise, which is basically, which sounds like a very big deal, but it's basically the three people you see on the slide. Myself as the director, Christina Hooks, who's sitting right there. She likes to stay out of sight, but I've asked her to come and answer all the questions that we may have at the end of this. And so she's amazing. And then the person I'm trying to channel, and Christina is in charge of all of our partnerships and events and running the actual institute. So if any questions related to the institute, she's the one to answer them. Catherine Swartz-Hilton is in charge of all of our special projects, and she is awesome. And there's the three of us that basically run the day-to-day institute, which I'll tell you about in a minute. But we're a very small core team that punches well above our weight because we leverage a lot of relationships, including 1 Million Cups. Casey and I are involved in a bunch of different things actually together. And we leverage a large group of people that help support what we do with the University of South Carolina and with the state of South Carolina, including our advisory board. Tim Bradford, is he in the audience today? Because he is super cool, and, and he's one of our advisors that helps us on a day-to-day basis do what we do. And you'll see a theme here. So when we introduce the Institute to people, we're really just introducing a bunch of people because that's what the Institute really consists of. My background is primarily in venture finance startups in Silicon Valley. So my educational background is in applied physics and material science and business. And I spent most of my career building new ventures in a variety of different markets, including everything from electrical connectors, biometric devices, medical devices. I produced a film, and I'm now running an alcohol ice cream company. So a lot of different companies in different markets. But one thing that most of you in the room actually already know is the core business knowledge and the tools that you need to run new ventures are pretty much the same, no matter what market you're in. And the market dynamics and the ecosystem that you're building your new company in matters a lot. So the first thing here means you can teach entrepreneurship, and that's what one of the things, the core things we do at the Institute. The second thing that I'm showing you here says where you're building your new venture and the ecosystem around it, you need to be aware of because it has a major impact on building whatever company you're building. So we study this at the university. I'm a professor, so I have to show at least one graph. But we're looking at things here like how does free enterprise, how does the rule of law or the government systems that are involved in wherever you're building your company, how do they impact your opportunity to build a new company? It turns out that it has a huge impact. It has a huge impact nationally and internationally, but it has a huge impact locally too. So one of the things we did with 1 Million Cups is we became a book sponsor so we could provide books to people about this. And one of the books was recommended by Greg Hilton, who's not here today. It's called Startup Communities, great book by Brad Felt. There's a few here on the corner. We just give a whole box of these to the 1 Million Cups organizers. It's their job to give them to you. I'm not going to get in the way of that. But one thing that we think is so important about 1 Million Cups and what we do at the Institute is the ecosystem that you're building companies in is as important as anything else you do when you're building a company. And one of our alumni, two of our alumni actually, well, but one from the University of South Carolina, recognized this. So Bob McNaire, and Bob and Janice McNaire are shown here, and they endowed an institute at the University of South Carolina called the McNaire Institute for Entrepreneurism and Free Enterprise. And so that long name is important because what we do is not just teach and support and to provide thought leadership in the entrepreneurship side, but also how does the ecosystem impact entrepreneurship. And so that's pretty much what we do at the McNaire Institute. We educate, we support, and we provide thought leadership in this area of entrepreneurship. That's a very broad thing. On a day-to-day basis, we spend a lot of time with students. So We do things like this is, so first of all, when you teach entrepreneurship, it's more like a series of workshops rather than the traditional classroom whiteboard environment that you may remember from school. And so this is an example, for example, where we brought the Entrepreneurship Club in to a master's level engineering program to teach design thinking and entrepreneurship. So this is what classrooms look like now. We do a lot of course development, we do a lot of workshop development. We're doing an entrepreneurship minor now at the University of South Carolina that will be available to any major. Probably not that interesting to the folks that I'm seeing sitting here. We do a lot of stuff that's actually cutting edge, beyond what I've seen at Harvard, Stanford, and Berkeley. So this is a video where I'm presenting to a master's level class on intellectual property strategy. In the lower left is a domain expert that we brought in, worldwide expert, who's talking to our class live with 3 other classrooms, one in Charlotte, one in Greenville, and one in Charleston, all interacting real time. We do stuff at the University of South Carolina like this on the education front and on the support front that's beyond what I've seen done at some of the bigger names universities worldwide. So that's the education side of what we do. The stuff that might be more interesting to you is the support side. So we support a lot of projects, most of them student or faculty run companies, but also anybody that's in our ecosystem. There are a lot of organizations that do this, so how do we differentiate from other organizations? The reality is we don't. It's one big network. We all run initiatives that help each other. So the Office of Economic Engagement, some of you may be familiar with at the University of South Carolina, great resource. The Incubator, great resource. Moore School, great resource. One of the things that we're doing, I want to make you aware of, which might be of interest to this group, is we have a strong push to run advisor networks, and we're piloting a software platform called Startup Wind that allows us online to bring in an idea, do the ideation, a bunch of tools, business model, canvas, templates, and all this stuff online, but also tap our network of alumni and advisors to help startup companies. So an online virtual advisory network for startup companies. And if you're interested in participating in that, either as an advisor or as an entrepreneur, we can give you the URL for that. What this allows us to do is transcend the geographic boundaries of Colombia. And if you're doing a startup company in Colombia, you can get advice from someone in Hong Kong or Brazil. We also do a bunch of events. So that's the third thing we do. And these events are really around providing thought leadership for entrepreneurship and free enterprise ecosystem building. One major event that I wanted to make this group aware of, I think it might be of interest to you, is an entrepreneurship showcase we throw out every year. This year it's going to be at the Senate, January 31st from 2 to 5. We highlight mostly student or faculty-based new ventures, but we get a large number of entrepreneurs coming in, talking about their companies and networking with one another. We also bring in great speakers. So we brought in historically Ali Webb, the founder of Drybar, David Knox, who's a well-known author of Predicting the Turn, which is another great book. And this year, you can guess who we're bringing in because you've got these pamphlets on your tables. We're bringing in Steve Forbes. Most of you know who Steve Forbes is. Does anybody not know who Steve Forbes is? So you may know him as he ran for president, he's a publishing magnate. But I did think it would make sense to show a very short video clip, because Sue suggested I could have more than 6 minutes, and show you sort of the personal side of Steve Forbes. It's a little bit loud, though. I'll let him speak himself.
I'm Steve Forbes, and I'm human. That's right, I am human, just like you. I may have run for president. I may be a publishing tycoon. But just like any average Joe out there, I get frustrated when I lock my cars inside my helicopter. So sit back, pop open a cold bottle of Brazilian mineral water, enjoy some poached salmon with capers, and adjust the satellite, because we have a great show.
So the event already, we have like almost 300 people registered so far for the event. It's going to be a big deal, and it's going to be a lot of fun from the networking perspective, but I think it'll also be very educational with Steve, but also other great speakers at that event. We also put on some more serious events. One of the other events that I wanted to make this group aware of, we have an invitation-only event down at Wild Dunes we host every year. This draws an international crowd from as far away as India and Asia. And we have about 100 people at this event every year. This year it's from June 3rd to the 5th. And we bring in policy leaders. We had the Commissioner of the International Trade Commission, the Commissioner of the SEC came in. We have business leaders, senior executives from IBM and Disney and other large companies. And then we have a lot of really cutting-edge technologists just to talk about how is the world changing and how does that impact how we think about building companies in the world today. So we do a lot of this type of thing. I only had a chance to, I have 2 seconds left. So I just want to give you a flavor for the kinds of things that our institute does. Mostly educational, mostly student and faculty focused, but we do a lot of events and a lot of support that might be of interest to the folks that are building companies in this area. And with that, I will stop and answer any questions. If Christina could come up, that would be very helpful.
Let's give her a hand.